Looking at the history of the world, there were many heroes. To become heroes, they had to risk many hardships, danger, and even death. And taking a glance into their lives gives us inspiration and teachings. So today, I'm going to tell you about 3 heroes that I think are the most important. These heroes are Florence Nightingale, Susan B. Anthony, and Martin Luther King Jr. Florence Nightingale was born in 1820, and as a teenager, she felt a powerful calling from God to help others, so she decided to remain single and become a nurse. After training both in Germany and France, Florence returned to England to become director of a women's hospital. In 1853, the Crimean War began. England, Turkey, and France went to war against Russia, and many soldiers died from the war. Hearing this, Florence went to a hospital in Scutari, Turkey. And what a horrible sight it was as the dying soldiers lied on bare floors or in dirty beds, but not enough supplies or food. Seeing this, Florence began cleaning the hospital, washing bandages, sheets, and blankets, and making sure the patients had better aid. And that's how she got her nickname, the Lady with the Lamp. There are stories that patients often woke up to see her carrying a little lantern through the dark wards, comforting the men. After the war, Florence returned to England as a hero. And for the rest of her life, she tried her best to keep her calling by working in the medical fields, building medical schools and giving speeches. And in 1910, she turned to God at the age of 90. The next hero is also a woman, and her name is Susan B. Anthony. In 1820, abolitionist Susan B. Anthony was born. Susan thought that women should have the same rights as men, saying, if women could vote, they would vote to change these unfair things. To fight for women's rights, Susan began to speak out for women's suffrage. Even when people threw rotten eggs at her, she kept her motto, failure is impossible. In 1872, Florence joined the 15 other women voting in the presidential election, knowing it was against the law. Because of this, they were arrested and put on trial. But Susan told the judge that she wouldn't even pay $1, which made her famous and motivating even more women to join the cause. Even after she died in 1906, countless efforts were made to keep the rights of women, and their efforts finally shown in 1920. 19th Amendment was added to the U.S. Constitution, giving women the right to vote. The last hero is Martin Luther King Jr. Martin was born in 1929, and he grew up in a time of segregation, where blacks didn't have the same rights as whites. In December 1955, a black woman named Rosa Parks refused to give her seat to a white man on the Montgomery city bus. She was arrested and fined. When black activists heard about this, they organized a bus boycott. For the year, the blacks walked, carpooled, and rode bicycles instead of buses. In 1956, the boycott was over because of the law. For the next 12 years, Martin traveled all over the country. He spoke at rallies, on streets, and in churches. In August 28, 1963, Martin gave one of the most famous speeches in American history. It's called the I Have a Dream speech. Most people remember this part of his speech. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. He told people that he dreamed of a world where people weren't judged by the color of their skin, but by the way they acted. In 1964, Martin received the Nobel Peace Prize. Because of civil rights movement, Congress passed several important laws. The Voting Rights Act of 1965 said that states couldn't make laws that kept black citizens or any other citizens from voting. In 1968, Martin died in Memphis when he was only 39 years old. Florence Nightingale, Susan B. Anthony, and Martin Luther King Jr. are truly heroes for all times. Each of them changed history by following their inner light, by being brave, and by never giving up. Everyone can work to make our planet a fair, safe, and beautiful place to live. You might find a hero in your hearts who's just waiting to be set free. Thank you for listening.